BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from the Olympics to baseball to Formula One racing. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BLEAV for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. BetOnline. The game starts here.
And the Los Angeles Dodgers kick off the second half of the 2024 Major League Baseball regular season, kicking it off with a series sweep of the red-hot Boston Red Sox, who came into Chavez Ravine, ended up getting swept out of the Dodger Stadium. It was an offensive explosion a couple of nights. Freddie Freeman got involved. Will Smith with the walk-off hit. Gavin Lux with a big night tonight. Jason Hayward immediately gets activated and ends up pretty much hitting, the pivotal home run into this final game of the series. I got Adrian here. I got Carlos here. We're reacting to the series right after it just concluded on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Honestly, I think the Dodgers really needed to come out strong, especially the way the first half ended, losing 5 of their 6 road games. The last 2 weeks, it kind of was just a war of attrition. I got to cover the team in Philly. They looked extremely tired when they got to Detroit. It just looked like a miserable experience if you were, a Dodger fan watching those games. I didn't even feel like putting those games on the TV. I just looked at my Twitter feed and I said, oh, well, this is a good thing I didn't watch. So to see the team come up, in the second half, scoring the amount of runs they did, James Paxton pitching the way he did today, Robleski pitching the way he did, maybe advertising for the trade deadline, just all around good baseball play from this Dodger team. And like I said, I got Adrian here and I got Carlos here. But Carlos, I'll go to you. Looking at this Red Sox series, we had Rob Bradford on from, Baseball Isn't Boring podcast. And, we talked very highly of the Red Sox. They had the best, I think the third best record in Major League Baseball since the start of June. They were 7-3 over their last 10 games coming into this series. And they end up, they were scoring and it seemed like they had the lead, a couple of those games, and the Dodgers kind of had to work their way back. It seemed, I think, every single game. And the Dodgers ended up finding a way to sweep this team. And Rob Bradford even said, they had the easiest schedule, one of the easiest schedules in the first half, and now they have one of the harder ones. But did you see a lot of fight in this Red Sox team? Because a lot of people coming into the season didn't think they were going to be a postseason contender. And currently, I believe before this series, they held the third wild card. So what did you see from the Red Sox?
So from the Red Sox, I did see, we'll take one game at a time. So in the first game, look, the Dodgers look like the Dodgers from the All-Star break until the 8th inning. So the Red Sox had the lead. Pitching was good. 1-0, 8th inning. They intentionally walk. I think it's Smith, and then Freddie hits a grand slam. That's literally the only offense they had the first game. So kind of Dodgers, it was – I don't want to use the word luck, but it was a good misfortune because the Dodgers only have 4 hits and 4 runs the first game. So I think, I hate saying lucky, but felt like they got lucky on that one inning. So next game, Red Sox and Dodgers battled. I mean, this was a great classic game. I wasn't able to watch. I was watching my phone on and off, and people were texting me like, hey, you're missing a great game right now. It was back and forth. They had 2-1 lead, 3-2 lead, 4-2 lead. It was great. And the Dodgers didn't give up. And either did the Red Sox. They came back. They got the home run off, I don't know if it was Phillips in that game, but they clawed back and they made it to the 11th inning, and the Dodgers came back. So Red Sox, I wouldn't take anything away from the Red Sox. And in today's game, you could see, the last inning, they almost came back and tied the game. I think they had the tie run on up to bat. So, nothing, I can't take anything away from the Red Sox. I think on the contrary, give the Dodgers props for playing the way they did, for winning each game in a different manner. Today, they used a long ball, 6 home runs, and think, like you just mentioned, Hayward's home run was a big factor in that 8th inning. So that's important. Freddie's grand slam first game, and then yesterday Dodgers clawing back and forth with this team. So big props, and nothing taken away from the Red Sox. I think we beat a good team, but I would definitely love to put to rest is Correa never a Dodger manager, period.
Yeah, that seems to be, a big discussion point. I think I forget who reported it like a couple months ago, where they were saying, Cora may, if he doesn't re-sign with Boston, could be a potential option for LA. I mentioned with Rob, Roger brought up the question in the interview, and like the absolute worst thing would have to happen this season, and that means like a wild card exit or a NLDS exit for the Dodgers to move on from Roberts. But kind of let's go back to that first game. You mentioned it, and it was a pretty big talking point, and that was Cora walking Will Smith to get up Freddie Freeman with the bases loaded. Did you love or hate that move? Like, did you understand it from a baseball perspective, or would you have rather just attacked Will Smith, who's a younger hitter? Compared to Freddie Freeman. And Freddie Freeman in that moment, I didn't think he was going to hit a grand slam, but I thought he had a better chance to drive in a run than Will Smith did, and he ended up driving all 4 runs. So, Carlos, before I segue to Adrian, what did you think of Cora's management there? Because that just seemed like if it was a Dodgers team that did that, I feel like we would have saw a lot of hate for Dave Roberts on social media.
Definitely. It's always that matchups, and it was lefty on lefty, and that's what they did it. And they did it again on Saturday where they walked the batter. I think they walked Ohtani this time to get to Smith, do their crazy defense so they can somehow get the outs there. But yeah, it's matchups. And you're right. If Roberts would have done it, I mean, I would have been upset too because I'm so tired of the matchups. But look, it worked out for Freddie. If you look at his stats with bases loaded, I think he's over 500 during the time with the Dodgers. So he is what you and I, Cody, we go back using the word clutch. And Freddie is that guy. He's definitely clutch. And that's who I would want, game 7 of the World Series, bases loaded, 2 outs, or whatever, So he's the guy. And he made him pay. I mean, I heard, later I think it was a breaking ball, and he waited for that ball to break and smashed it. I don't think he was going to hit a home run, but, it was great. Just a great swing. And just the outcome of that game was great for the Dodger fans.
Yeah, and then Adrian, Carlos mentioned it as well. It's not the first time the Red Sox did that this series. They intentionally walked Ohtani. It didn't work because Will Smith came through with that game as well, hitting a walk-off single. And then the Freddie Freeman decision, to intentionally walk Smith. What are your thoughts on just kind of like, because I feel like Dave Roberts gets a lot of slack on like trying to play matchups, and I feel like it's funny because now Dodgers fans have seen a very well-respected manager make a pretty big mistake and 2 costly mistakes that lost them back-to-back games at the start of this series. But what were your thoughts on that? Were you surprised that they intentionally walked Smith to get to Freeman? Were you surprised that he actually hit a grand slam on it? What were your thoughts on all that?
Oh, well, they say baseball is just about strategy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But matchups wise, I personally did not think Freddie was gonna actually hit that out. I thought it was gonna at least be a ground rule double from what I saw. But, I'm piggybacking off Carlos too that, I mean, Freddie right now I know he didn't start off as hot, but man, seeing him go and be more clutch and the clutch hitter that he is, and pretty much the best hitter in the last decade or so, it's just very refreshing to see, especially after this series. And yeah, I mean, this was just an overall great series to begin coming back from the All-Star break.
Yeah, and then let's get, honestly, I feel like every Dodger fan crapped on the City Connect uniforms, whether it was the hat, the jersey, the pants, the Pop-Tart theme, whatever you're going with. Guys, I think they're 3-0 in these jerseys. I think they got to start wearing them more. I think they're just bringing winning vibes right now. I think they did grow on me. I bought the hat like a couple weeks ago just because I was like, it's not as bad in person. The jerseys, if the numbers were a little bit different, I probably would just buy one, for myself to just have. But I don't know. They seem to be playing winning baseball in these jerseys. Most teams were doing it as like a rotation. The Dodgers, with their old ones, they would just wear it like once in a blue moon. Like it would be randomly. But, I know the Phillies here, they wear it every Friday. And it looks like the Dodgers are doing it every Saturday home game. So are you guys all for it? Do you think the Dodgers should wear them more? Are we that superstitious in this game of baseball, Carlos?
You know what? If it's working, keep doing it. Yeah, I heard that today. 3-0. Yeah, for sure. It's not growing on me completely. I still don't like the specs, but I think the color's okay. Number is weird. The back thing, it looks like a computer printout, and they just cut the number off. But you know what? Look, if it's working, let's wear it. Let's wear it every Saturday, and then let's just never have losses on Saturdays.
And then Adrian, have the uniforms grown on you at all? Because I feel like I'm seeing more and more, fans wear them at the stadium when they show it on TV, and I'm seeing more of these hats kind of just being worn just everywhere. I've even seen a couple Dodger fans on the East Coast wear these hats. Are you okay with the jerseys? Are you fine with the Saturday rotation? Just because the Dodgers uniforms, those white unis, they're iconic. So I feel like they're always going to want to wear those more times than not. So, but what are your thoughts on just the City Connect? Seeing them a couple times in the rotation, seeing them winning in them right now. What are your thoughts right now as we get closer to the August?
No, yeah, definitely. I personally wasn't a fan. I'm still, you know what? I would personally just get the hat. I wouldn't rock the jersey personally. But hey, man, if we're winning in them, I just say let's play with them for a whole month. Let's just see how that goes. Let's just see how that goes, and possibly that could be our new home white. I'm just kidding. That's a joke. That's a joke now. But no, it's starting to really grow on me. I like it. I like the rotation that they're doing. I didn't like how they used the last City Connects, using them, as you said, like once in a blue moon. I just thought that was really random and weird. But no, I'm starting to like them, and if we're winning in them, then let's just keep wearing them.
Yeah. And they looked good wearing them in that game two comeback win where they ended up walking off. But Carlos, I want to start talking about this game today that we're fresh off. It's fresh in our memory, and I want to talk about your guy because I feel like you're very high on him. We've talked about it a lot, and that's James Paxton. Arguably, entering this series, he was pretty much the veteran presence to an otherwise very young rotation. You're talking Gavin Stone, Justin Robleski, Landon Knack, Ryan Yarbrough, and then it's James Paxton. That's the starting rotation right now, just due to injuries, not having Kershaw and Glasnow activated yet, Bobby Miller being optioned down. But I feel like I don't know what happened between that first inning and then whatever happened after that, because it seemed like it was two different pitchers today. Just because, he got rocked around that first inning, gives up 2 runs, and I'm like, here we are. James Paxton, he does really well at home compared to on the road. I think his road ERA was almost 7, where compared at home, I believe it's like 2.5, something along those lines. Then I'm like, well, at least we took the series. That was kind of my vibes. I was like, we never win on Sunday Night Baseball. I can't really remember the last time in my head when we win on like a getaway day or a Sunday night. So I just was picturing a loss, but James Paxton, I don't know what he did. I don't know if he had, smelling salts in the dugout or something and got amped up to go back on that mound, because not only was he pitching efficiently, pitching quick and attacking the zone, his velocity went up. It went up to 96 miles per hour today, which is what he was pitching last season. I know that's something I've brought up where he's usually been like around 91, 92, and that just really hasn't cut it. But what did you see from Paxton today, and how important was, that start?
Yeah, it was. I was watching the beginning of the game too. It's like double home run, and I'm like, I think I might have texted you guys or Roger, and I said, okay, 2 out of 3 is not bad. I literally threw in the towel that early. I was like, this is going to be. I even told my son, I'm like, this is going to be the bad Paxton game. And yeah, sure enough, he turns it around, and you know what? He picked up, like you just mentioned, he picked up his speed to 95, 96. I think they had Kershaw on the broadcast. And the sportscaster asked him, what was it? What is it? And then Kershaw said, I think something snapped in him. And then he was just joking. It's like, yeah, I mean, it just happens. Yeah, he was throwing 95, 96. I mean, he did, he got up to 90. I think, I don't know how many pitches, but, he's a workhorse though, man. He's a workhorse, and he, got us some innings to kind of quail down the innings that we're getting from the bullpen, because the bullpen is definitely taxed, and it's starting to show. And so, thank God he was able to figure it out and hold them to 2 runs. So, big ups to Paxton. Like we've been saying, he's probably not going to be in the postseason roster, most likely. But let's use him, man. This regular season, get some wins from him, and eat up those innings, because we're going to need that.
Yeah, and I was actually very surprised that Roberts threw him back out there, and I believe it was the 6th inning. He was at, I think, 92 to start. I think he gave up back-to-back hits, and then Roberts said, I've seen enough. Let's just go straight to the bullpen after that. I think the way he was pitching today was kind of what you've been talking about, the past couple times you've been on here, where it's like this guy may not be on the postseason. Why aren't we just just pitching him? Just have him eat those innings. We have a situation right now where the health of the starting rotation is on thin ice. Once Glasnow comes back and Kershaw's activated this week, they're still going to be on, quotations, innings limit. Like the Dodgers are going to be watching their innings closely, and they want those two for October, not James Paxton. Where it's I'm not trying to discredit Paxton or anything, but like that's kind of what the Dodgers signed him for, was to be that veteran guy to just bulk and eat innings, because relatively he's been healthy for most of his career, give or take like 1 to 2 injuries. But I don't know. So Adrian, looking at his start, I feel like maybe the reason why he got an uptick in all of his stuff is if you're anyone that's ever played sports, he's facing it against his former ball club. I mean, that could be one thing. He played for the Red Sox last year. You start your first inning and then they start teeing off on you. Maybe he made some type of adjustment, but similar with everything with Carlos was saying, what did you see from James Paxton from, that second to the sixth inning? Because it just looked like he was a completely different pitcher today.
Yeah, definitely. And coming from like another pitcher, like he just pitched like he was pissed off at not only himself, but just everything. And, that's good. You want to see that in a pitcher. And he was most importantly effective, not really running up the pitch count during innings. He was really fast. He was striking out. He struck out 7 today. And even though he walked 4, I mean, the strikeouts alone is just more than what you would expect James Paxton to get in a single game. But I thought he pitched really well. I've always been on James Paxton's side ever since we signed him. And yeah, I agree. I don't think he's going to make it into the postseason roster, but as long as we can use him and he'll be efficient, I mean, man, just throw him in there for as long as you can.
Yeah, and then it's a perfect segue, leaving this series. Obviously, Dodgers, like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, they're kind of getting back on track right now. Start off the second half right, sweeping a very good Boston Red Sox team, and then now they're getting ready to host the Giants after that. But before we get into all that, the Kershaw, the Glasnow, and the Giants series, let's talk about this Dodgers bullpen, because Carlos, you mentioned it. They're being overworked. They are top 3 in terms of innings pitched. And then since July 1st, their ERA has kind of ballooned to 5.51. And a big part of that has been the struggles of who we saw trying to close out the game today. Wasn't a save situation. He almost made it very darn close to being a save situation, and that's Evan Phillips. And since Evan Phillips, got reactivated off the injured list, he just really hasn't looked like himself since July 1st. He has an ERA at 7.50, only 7 strikeouts, and it just seems like I just feel like he's not there. He's not fooling anybody up there. Those Boston Red Sox hitters were eagerly waiting to hit off of him, and thankfully Dave Roberts went out there after the damage wasn't too bad. I think Phillips gave up like 3 or 4 runs in that final half inning. So and then to bring Daniel Hudson in. But looking at this Dodgers bullpen, everybody was saying it is a strength because they still are top 3 in ERA in terms of bullpen rankings. It goes the Braves and then the Brewers and then the Dodgers. But it's been something that a lot of MLB insiders said that this team needs to address come the trade deadline, which is not something that we've been thinking about. I know we had Robbie Hyde on the show the other day. He mentioned, why don't they just, put all the chips in the bag and go get a guy like Mason Miller? But I don't think they need to go that extreme. But what are your thoughts on just this Dodgers bullpen, and what's the solution? Is it acquiring someone on the trade deadline, or is it just getting, a front end starting rotation or front end starting pitcher to help alleviate those innings? But what are your thoughts?
So regarding the bullpen, I mean, I know we don't have like 2 hours to go through every single guy, but they're definitely getting taxed. Evan Phillips, unfortunately, has looked awful. He gave up the home run. I remember he gave up the home run in Detroit, and most of us were saying like, oh well, it really wasn't his fault. It was a blown save by the what's his name? I think it was Varlin or something, or Velasco, right?
Yeah.
And so he gave up all the leads, and then they're saying, oh yeah, Evan came up to clean up, and unfortunately he couldn't close it off. Home run, they lose the game, right? Or they tie the game and they eventually lose it. Then he gives up a home run yesterday. Yesterday he gives up a home run. Today he looks pretty bad. So is he not fully recovered from his IL stint? Possibly. I would say right now he's not looking good. I think Ramirez is. I think he's taxed. I think he's been overworked. But but we could look at the bright side. Kelly coming back really helped. He looked sharp the last 2 days. Vesia still looking good. I think we need a little bit of both, where we need some of the guys to come back. We got Gratterall to come back. I think definitely we need a strong lefty. I've been in it for Tanner Scott. I've heard rumors. I know we're going to cover trades later on, but I've heard rumors of Mason Miller's Dodgers being on Mason Miller. I think we do need someone like that. I think Evan Phillips, unfortunately, at least for this moment, he's not our closer, and he's just not doing a good job as closing. I don't want to say Vesia should be our closer, but I like Trinan. He's looking better. Even Hudson. But yeah, Phillips. It's this whole thing where it seems like Roberts doesn't want to put him to be the setup guy. Kind of, you're going to hurt his just kind of his demoralize the guy. So I know they don't do that kind of stuff. So, but there's definitely something wrong with Phillips, and we need to figure it out. And then we had mentioned before this Kenley Jensen rumor coming to Dodgers. I think after watching Kenley, and I like the guy. The guy's he's a good guy. I like how he mentioned on Bet's podcast about finishing his career as a Dodger, but no, not what we saw this weekend. He looked like the old Jensen. So yeah, I think there's a slight problem right now with the closer for the Dodgers right now.
And Adrian, I'm looking at roster resources right now on Fangraphs. There's a lot of guys in this Dodgers bullpen that's not going to be around in October. You got Brent Honeywell, Johan Ramirez. I know Dave Roberts loves him, but he should not be on this roster come, September, October. Anthony Banda, he's kind of been a pleasant surprise, but he's kind of starting to have his Linsanity run start to if it wasn't for that double play today, it could have been even worse for him. Joe Kelly being activated, he looked really sharp, which is very surprising because, I put out a tweet the other day, he had an ERA at 9 in a couple minor league assignments. So I guess he was looking more at stuff and velocity than results, because he looked pretty nasty in his couple appearances so far this series in Boston. Blake Trinan, he's still getting up there in age, but he's still one of those guys that I feel like the Dodgers can count on. Daniel Hudson, old man Hudson, he came back on a minor league deal and ended up, making the team, and he's looked really good this year. He's been relatively healthy. And then Evan Phillips is just a big question mark in terms of late innings. Is he the closer? Is he the setup man? Is he the high leverage guy? If you're the Dodgers, Adrian, what are you doing to fix this bullpen? Are you just saying, all right, well, Brusdar Gratterall's coming back hopefully by the end of July, maybe early August? Or do you try to go put your chips in and get someone that's on the market? We know Kenley Jansen's been rumored, but after you saw his performance today, are you really in on him, or do you have some other people in mind?
I had a few chips on Jensen, and then after these last couple of days, I immediately put him right back in my pocket because I love the guy too. But man, I think we can all agree we want to win now, and the bullpen is going to be the first foundation for that. And right now, realistically, the bullpen is in shambles. Evan Phillips, to me personally, is just too predictable now. I think hitters are everyone around the league has pretty much figured him out. And he had the nasty stuff beforehand, but it's just not, like I said, he's getting figured out. I like that. Surprising. I was chuckling a little bit at the Joe Kelly comment because it's just, I'm very surprised that he's doing good, and I would be waiting for Gratterall, but at the same time, I think we need to start building the bullpen now. So I think if I were the Dodgers, I just fully put my chips in to finding a good, at least another 1 or 2 possibly max bullpen arms just to be on the safe side, just in case if Gratterall comes back and he's not the same. You want a couple of arms to fall back on. I know that Banda is, like you said, end of his Linsanity run, but you never know, man. This bullpen fluctuates, but at this point in time, I would just go all into the trade deadline, try to find a few more arms.
And Andrew Freeman, kind of continuing with this little question, Adrian. Andrew Freeman really doesn't like trading for bullpen arms. He's made that statement known, and if you look at the most recent bullpen trades that he has made, obviously everyone brings up the Yordan Alvarez thing or the O'Neal Cruz trade for Tony Watson, all that. Obviously, I don't think you can really predict it because when he traded those guys, they were, I believe, still teenagers. So they kind of blossomed in those systems away from the Dodgers. But it is a risk, to trade for any, arm like that. Evan Phillips is, closers are very, up and down. You don't know what you're going to get. Relief pitching is just up and down. One year your bullpen could be elite, and the next year, if they all have down years, your bullpen can just be bad. In terms of just getting bullpen arms, I feel like I like Tanner Scott. If they want to go and blow out, and get Mason Miller, because I view that guy as bullpen arm this year, potential starter in the future. And if any team can turn him back into a starting pitcher, it could be the Dodgers. They have their fair share of flamethrowers that they've kind of turned into, short inning, starting pitchers that go like 4 or 5 innings. I think let's just get straight into the trade talk. There was a lot of rumors over this past week, and I think the big one is from ESPN, where Alden Gonzalez was reporting on Garrett Crochet. Garrett Crochet has been a name we've heard probably for the past month and a half, 2 months. The White Sox are terrible. We know they're going to be sellers. The big question is, do the Dodgers, if they are interested in Crochet, do they try to put together like a big package with Crochet, Luis Robert, and then others? I forget the guy that's in their bullpen. Blanking on the name right now. That's also there. Kopech. Yeah, that's the thing. Apparently, Gonzalez was saying that the Dodgers are interested in all three and that they would like to do a big package. But if not, they really want Crochet. And this is kind of where it gets a little interesting because the Dodgers apparently value Crochet as a bullpen arm. They would like to put him in the bullpen this come October to be that lefty, guy that can come not only just get 1 inning, but multiple innings. Carlos, hearing that, the price is going to be high. Just him alone with 2.5 years of control, people are saying, you're going to need like at least three top prospects. But then, our needs in the starting rotation. And you're hearing that Crochet is not only on an innings limit, but the Dodgers view him as more of a bullpen arm compared to a starter. Are you still kind of all in on that market, or do you want someone along the lines of that's going to help the rotation, like a Jack Flaherty or somewhere else in the market?
So yeah, I was all in before for Crochet, and then once I think you shared an article with me, I completely after reading that article, it was like, okay, yeah, you can get this guy. But unless you sign an extension with the guy, he's not going to go above his limits of his innings pitched. And then, then they said, okay, well, you'll pick him up, and then he'll be a bullpen guy until towards the end of the season, and then you can make him a starter again. I don't even know how that's going to work. So the White Sox want ace money or ace players for this guy, but he's not going to be an ace pitcher for any team. He's not even going to he's probably reached his limit, and he's probably going to be put into the bullpen, and he's a high reliever. So that I think that's where I think the dilemma with the Dodgers, do they offer him the players as if they're getting an ace pitcher when they're not? The one I will say that coming along with the package would be Roberts. I was not in on Roberts. I think when the rumor started happening with Roberts, he was batting like 198, 200. I mean, he's up to 236 last time I checked. I don't know what he did today or yesterday, but he was 236. So he's picked it up 40 points. Big difference. So I do think we need a true outfielder because, Hayward, we know that he's platoon. Vargas is a liability defensively in the outfield when he's out there. And then Pages is not your prototypical center fielder. And, we saw that. I think we mentioned it earlier with Outman making that great catch this weekend, how he just sacrificed his body just to catch that ball. Well, Pages doesn't play that way when he's in the outfield. Yeah, don't want anyone to get hurt, but we need to make some plays like that when they're in the playoffs because it's going to make a difference. So, a lot of moving parts though, a lot of things that are happening. I think personally it will happen though, that Crochet and Roberts, and if they throw the other pitcher you guys mentioned, I think Dodgers are going to do it. I think they need to do it. Other players, the craziest rumor I heard, I don't know if you guys heard this one. I don't know which writer wrote about it, but they're saying that Blake Snell, the Dodgers are actually in on Blake Snell too, because the Giants might just be done for the season. So, I don't know if I would go after him. He's kind of injury prone. And I know I think he's just 1 year contract, right, Cody? I think.
Yeah, he's got the 1 year and I think with an opt out.
Okay.
So he signed technically a multi-year deal, but it's got the opt-out, which he may end up opting in on just because of the season he has had. He has looked better as of late. The Dodgers are going to get a test of that. I believe he pitches for the Giants, the time this episode drops, so later tonight.
Okay.
So they'll see. But I don't imagine the Dodgers and Giants doing any type of
Yeah.
trades together. And technically, I'm doing the Dodgers Giants preview right now, and the Giants are still mathematically, still in contention. They're only 3 games out of that final wild card spot. So I imagine they're going to be buyers because Zaidi, the Giants GM or president of baseball ops, he's kind of fighting for his job right now. If they don't make the playoffs or get close to the playoffs, then he's just going to get fired eventually. So he may be trying aggressively to, get whatever players he can to try to make that final wildcard spot. Because I feel like for the most part, the division's done for most of these teams, unless bearing any collapse for the Dodgers. Padres, Diamondbacks, they're going to be fighting out for second. Third is going to be between the Giants and whoever, the loser of the fight that I just mentioned. And then the wild card spots, the National League wild card is like all over the place. That's probably not even going to be finished until maybe the final 2 weeks of the season. But Crochet, it makes sense. I understand. I'm kind of starting to change my tune on Robert as well. I was agreeing with you, especially when his name was mentioned, where I looked at that slash line and I saw the batting average. I'm still an old school head and I'm seeing like 158. Wasn't appealing to me. I think what is appealing is that just the years of control, and he has been heating up lately, especially since I believe mid-June, kind of July. He's been hitting the cover out of the baseball, and he can play decent defense. Don't let his no throw to home the other day or the drop in the outfield confuse you. He's a better defender than Andy Paez. He's a better defender probably at similar defender to Jason Hayward at Jason Hayward's age. And Teoscar Hernandez, he's more of a hitter first kind of guy as well. I think it would be a big boost. And you're talking about Luis Robert Jr. playing, hitting in like the 7th, 8th, or 9th spot in the Dodgers lineup, which if you can get that guy to hit there, that solves a whole, boatload of issues that has plagued the Dodgers this entire season. Another rumor, Adrian, that I'll kind of get your thoughts on, and it's a guy that I've been very high on. If the Dodgers are going to put all their chips in the bag and try to get somebody, and that is Skubal from the Tigers. Bob Nightingale's been reporting, it's been multiple reporters. First it was Jim Bowden from The Athletic. He put it out that the Tigers would entertain offers for Skubal if he was made available, just to see what he is worth. Now we got Bob Nightingale saying that the Dodgers and the Orioles have been the most aggressive out of those teams that are trying to actually put a package together and giving them, names out of their minor league and major league system. What are your thoughts on this? If it's possible for the Tigers and the Dodgers to link in a trade, are you all in on getting, this lefty with 2.5 years of control to slot right in? He is the American League Cy Young favorite. I'm pretty sure for most betting websites, he is the favorite there as well. And he pitched in the All-Star game and threw a scoreless inning as well. He pitched pretty decent against the Dodgers. His bullpen ended up just dropping that game for him. But are you going to go all in for this type of arm if he is made available? And is there any untouchables for the prospects? Because the price is going to be astronomically high.
Yeah, definitely. The price is going to be, as you said, astronomical. And Skubal was my plan B, honestly, because my plan A is still Crochet. But I feel like Skubal, in a sense, could be more valuable. And to answer your prospect questions, no, none of them are safe at this point in time. I've never believed that a prospect should be safe. Just when you're a team like the Dodgers and your priority is to win, you'll do anything to win. And I've been following that logic for the Dodgers for many, many years. And if the Tigers do put Skubal on the chopping block, I think the Dodgers should put him over Crochet in the sense of just dominant pitching. And you'll be having the American League Cy Young Award favorite in your rotation. So that just, to me, that's pretty much everything, because then you could have them with the 1, 2, 3 of Glasnow, Skubal, and then Yamamoto. And that is just a dominant. I'm thinking about in October, that could be a dominant 1, 2, 3. So, I put everything on Skubal. If Crochet doesn't work out, at least I can hopefully comfortably say that they have a plan A and a plan B.
My rule of thumb for all of this is that if I had to compare one lefty to another lefty that similar years of control in between Crochet and Screwball, I'm going to go with the guy that's, the better pitcher. And I'm going to go to the guy with the more proven track record, and that's Screwball. And his price is astronomically high, but the White Sox, on the other hand, are probably going to ask for the same exact prospects that the Tigers would ask for. Like, we're talking about a trade that's going to involve one, if not all three, in terms of DePaula, rushing, and maybe put in one of like our better pitching prospects. Like Robleski would be like a guy. River Ryan could be a guy. Bobby Miller. I mentioned it a couple episodes ago. He could be thrown in, and I'm starting to see more and more fans and MLB pages throw that idea in there as well. Obviously, you got your major league ready talent in like James Outman and Miguel Vargas. So in terms of getting Screwball or Crochet in a Robert package, it's going to be like 5 or 6 prospects to get one or the other. And I think the Dodgers' need this deadline is really just starting pitching. I think if they get starting pitching, the bullpen will end up start pitching less, and it'll all start to autocorrect itself. You get Graterol back, and then once October comes, you can shift, one of your starting pitchers to the bullpen to help alleviate innings there. But I don't think Screwball is going to get traded, but I feel like if the Dodgers were to go all in on it to any player, it would be him, just because of what you're kind of guaranteed to get out of that. You're getting a left-handed starter with 2.5 years of control, who's the American League Cy Young favorite. So I just feel like that's a no-brain. The other out-of-the-box thing, I put it out, during the Sunday Night Baseball game. Mookie Betts is going to go back to, shortstop. Gavin Lux, if he's playing well, is going to stay at second. The big question mark is third base. And if the Blue Jays really want to sell and the Dodgers want to do something really out of the box, why not just try to entice the Blue Jays to give you Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? And if Muncy does come back, figure it out after that. And I only suggest saying it here, like not just because we're a fan blog and we're thinking about like all the best players, but like David Vassay was also like all in on this idea too. He was like, well, out of all the guys on the Blue Jays, I don't want Bichette, I want Vlad. And if they're both under that 1 year of control, why not just put all your chips in the basket and get him? Because it sounds more and more likely that the Blue Jays are going to be sellers. And it's just a matter of fact if they're going to sell off more than just their rental pieces. That'll be interesting to see if the Dodgers try to get something done in the infield, because I don't think there's many infield options. The league, it's a pretty tight trade deadline this year, but is there anybody that's catching your attention on the trade market, Carlos? Is there anyone that you specifically want the Dodgers to get if it's not Screwball or Crochet or Robert? Who's on your mind?
So I was thinking more that made sense for the Dodgers besides the top aces. I thought that because we needed a third baseman for sure. And let's not also discount Miggy's injury today or why he left the game early, because it could be serious. So, Biggio definitely is not going to cut it at third, if he had to play more. I'm in it for Tampa Bay with Eflin, Arozarena, and Paredes. Take those 3 guys, third base, outfield, and you got a starting pitcher who can eat up innings. And then also put your chips on either Crochet or Screwball. I would say that's where I would be. It would be those 3 players, and then pick one of those 2. And I think with that, I think we have enough. I like Adrian's point. Can you imagine like Screwball, Glasnow, hopefully Yamamoto looks like he's going to be okay, and Stone as your 4 guys, and then I guess Kershaw from the bullpen, I guess, for maybe middle innings or something like that. I mean, I would feel way more confident going to the playoffs with that kind of rotation.
And let's just get straight into it. You mentioned Kershaw. He is making a comeback. He will be activated for this upcoming series against the Giants, making his 2024 season debut. His rehab starts, they looked pretty good. His last one in AAA, he went 4 innings, ended up giving up, I believe, 3 runs. And for the most part, his velocity was up there. It was around 91, 92 miles per hour. But that 4th inning was what really caught my eye, and that's when it dropped from the 90s to like 87, 80, 8 miles per hour, which is what we kind of saw late second half last season. He credited it saying that it's just not him fully built up yet, but they asked him, well, are you ready to come back? And he kind of was just giving them, the state of the rotation is if they want me and if they need me. And obviously we know the way the rotation is right now. They're in dire need for someone to eat innings, and who better than to be Clayton Kershaw to help alleviate some of that damage. Also during this series upcoming with the Giants, Tyler Glasnow's coming back as well. But Adrian, what are your thoughts on Kershaw? Are you surprised that he's pitching? Because there was some doubts that me and Juan, we didn't think he was coming back this season at all. And he's here before August. How surprised are you that he's making his debut this quick?
Very. I thought it was going to be middle August at least. Going back to like his last rehab start, he was doing. What surprised me was that he topped out at 92, but then, like you said, his final inning of work dropped all the way down to 86, 87, and just brought me back to last year, how that happened. So I'm still, I'm excited. The GOAT's finally coming back, but at the same time, you're really looking at it as the Dodgers are desperate for someone to just eat innings. And it's really gotten to that point where I feel like he has to come back super, super early. Because if he would have came back in August, that would have been fine, but I know the state of the rotation right now is in dire need of his help. So I understand. But yeah, to answer your question, just very, very surprised that it is July 21st and he's here pitching in the next couple of days.
And then continuing off of that, Adrian, Glasnow got put on the 15-day IL during the Phillies series. They said that it wasn't anything serious. Comes out a couple days later, Glasnow just said, it's a case of tall man syndrome. He had just some back pain, needed a little bit of rest. Are you overly confident? Because this guy's coming, I believe if he goes at least 4 or 5 innings against this start against the Giants, he'll tie his career high in innings pitched during the regular season. Are you concerned in terms of outlook at the future if this guy's going to start looking fatigued? Because his last 2 starts, he didn't look too good, but you could attribute that to the back pain. But what are your thoughts on that? And do you think the Dodgers are definitely going to keep an eye on that as the season goes on?
Yeah, I think they probably discussed that while he was getting rest, saying that, you're reaching your career high, basically. And this is, especially for someone of his stature, has never reached it, which I still think is kind of crazy that he's never reached this amount of innings before. But yeah, I really hope the Dodgers do keep a close eye on him. And no matter if he's doing good or bad, still not limit him as much, but still keep a really, really good eye on him, because we still need him in the next couple months. So yeah, I'm very confident that Glasnow will adjust greatly. I attribute the last 2 really, really bad starts he had to his back tightness and everything. So I'm just personally really glad that Glasnow is back.
Yeah, and Carlos, let's get back to Clayton Kershaw, because like I said, me and Adrian are surprised that he's back this early. I think the Dodgers are, in a way, rushing him to come back just because they desperately need, a veteran to put into this rotation to kind of, stabilize the way it's looked. Because, it kind of just looks like a AAA rotation led by James Paxton. There's a lot of young guys in this rotation, whether it's Robleski, Knack, Yarbrough, who's kind of been a journeyman as of late. What are your expectations for Kershaw this first start back against, a team that he's faced so much in his career, but at least, unlike Bobby Miller, they're not throwing him in Coors Field. They're throwing him at, Dodger Stadium, a place where he should be very familiar with. What are your expectations for this guy? Because he only went 4 innings, I think was the max in his start against in AAA during his rehab assignments. I usually don't think he's going to go like 5 or 6 innings, in the majors based off that track record, but I could be shocked. But what are your thoughts on his expectations for this, not only this game, but probably maybe the outlook for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think I would 4 or 5 innings. I think that's what he'll get. Hopefully that first inning, it's not where he throws like 30 pitches. If he can get it, I think somewhere between 15, 20 pitches, I think he'll get to the 4th, 5th inning. So I think that's what he'll do. I think after watching his interview today during the game, he's stating to us that he feels strong. He feels great, and yes, he's got to build up, the endurance to pitch longer into the game. So, and that's why I'm thinking 4 or 5, depending on his pitch count. But you know what, maybe I'm not just as concerned as I guess you guys. I think he's gonna be okay. And I think Glasnow, I mean, look at the coincidence that he takes that IL stint right before the All-Star break. I felt like it was just fatigue. Yeah, I'm sure maybe he's fatigue and his back is tired. I think I'm not too concerned either. I think it's just like a good, like, nice rest for him. Enjoy the All-Star game. He didn't pitch, right, during the All-Star game, right? Because he's on the IL. Yeah. So he was at the festivities, So I think it was more of that. Hey, take a break, take a vacation, and come back. And he did. They didn't extend his IL. So I think he's fine too. I think right now, I know that we're like, our thoughts are with the last 2 weeks we saw of the team. And I haven't been on for like a couple of weeks, but the last time I was on, you and I were talking about when they played the Diamondbacks and they started all 3 rookies. And we said, if they do bad, again, if these rookies do bad, then we have a problem. And that's exactly what happened. They got shelled. All the rookies got shelled against the Diamondbacks. And granted, the Diamondbacks were playing good ball, and they're still playing pretty good ball. So, yeah, that was concerning. Then they go on to, I think, to Philly after that. Then, that's the whole, they look horrible there, except for like one game. And then the 2 blown saves in Detroit. Yeah, and everything just looks miserable. You know what? I'm so glad that, the All-Star break came. They come out this series, and we mentioned earlier, they found a way to win Friday. They called their way back to win Saturday. They came, and then today they used power to win the game. So we got to look at those positives. And yeah, the bullpen needs help, but the starting pitcher was okay. Robleski has been like a pleasant surprise. I like the kid. I'll be sad if he gets traded. I can see if he does get traded, because he does have that. He's got that like that look. If you watch baseball so much that you say, oh man, this guy looks good. I mean, he throws 97, 98. He's got a good slide. I mean, he looks good. So if he gets traded, I can see why other teams would want him. So he's been a pleasant surprise. And I know that you, Cody, you have been big on River Ryan. Before this, I had never heard of the guy, honestly. And I know you guys been talking about him for a long time. And if he comes, I think they're saying tomorrow, possibly, right?
He should be starting the first game of the series. It's listed as TBD, but he should be up, yes.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see what happens with him. And if he does well, he's going to be one of the players that people are going to be asking for in the trade in return for whoever they get. So, you know what? Like I said, it was a good start for after the All-Star break with the sweep of the Red Sox, and the Giants are kind of floundering right now. If they can come and take 3 out of 4 with the Giants, hey, it's a good start for the second half.
Yeah, and let's just get into that series before we close out the show today. Adrian, this is surprisingly, when I'm looking at the schedule, this is the last meeting between the Dodgers and the Giants for the regular season, unless they meet in the playoffs somehow. You only get 13 meetings. They've already played 9 times already. Dodgers have won 6 of those 9 games. They've pretty much dominated the Giants this entire season, besides, I believe, their last meeting in San Francisco, where the Dodgers lost 2 out of 3 there. 4 games set here. Dodgers and Giants, their rotation, they've kind of been taking a hit the past couple of weeks, but unlike the Giants, the Dodgers are getting some reinforcements back. They're getting Kershaw, they're getting Glasnow. That Landon Knack has been a very good pitcher this year, and then River Ryan's making his major league debut. Compare that to the Giants, who, other than, a converted reliever to a starter in Jordan Hicks and then Logan Webb, that's pretty much been their entire rotation this entire season. When I'm looking at this series coming up ahead, they have 2 games listed as TBD. So, and I assume they're either going to be a spot start or they're going to be 2 bullpen games, which is what the Giants have been doing pretty much all season long, which is the reason why they have the record that they do. And what are your thoughts, on this series? Do you think the Dodgers kind of continue momentum from this Red Sox series? What are you thinking that the Dodgers are going to do to close out this homestand before they head off to the road?
Yeah, I think they definitely do carry a lot of momentum, especially from these last 3 exciting games at home. I think they take 3 out of 4, just like they could always. I was surprised they actually won today on a Sunday. But yeah, I think today, I know this was we just completed the first series of the second half, but I feel like this series is really truly going to be the bounce back from the ending of the first half. Just, you got everybody back. This is the closest it's been ever post injuries that it's felt like a full ball club. So, I mean, vibes are going to be high. Hopefully they can ride on that, ride off the momentum of the last series. So I'm really expecting a lot of great things. I'm really, really hoping that Kershaw does well and that Ryan does well as well.
And Carlos, what are you thinking? I know you said best scenario would be to take 3 or 4 of this series, but do you realistically think, just with the pitching line that I just threw out there, do you think the Dodgers are going to take 3 or 4, possibly more?
Yeah, I'll stick to the 3 out of 4. I think the rest is going to do Glasnow some good. I think he'll pitch well. I think he'll throw at least 6 innings. I think, like I said, Kershaw, it's Kershaw. Just like you said, he knows them. They know each other. Hopefully the advantage will go to Kershaw. He'll have a better game than they will against him. So I think he'll go 4-5, and I think we'll get that game. I think, we're the day game on Thursday. I think we'll lose that game because Smith will be benched and Barnes will probably come up to bat in the 9th slot, and all that stuff will happen. But yeah, no, 3 out of 4, I think they'll take.
You put some respect on Barnes' name. He went deep in this series finale game against the Red Sox.
The funny thing is that everybody forgot about that home run because the next home run was like knocked out of the stadium. So I was telling you guys earlier, I actually dozed off, and when I woke up, I'm like, my wife's like, "Oh, Ohtani just hit it out of the stadium." Barnes hit a home run. Nobody even talked about Barnes' poor home run, man. So we'll give him his flowers here.
Yeah, I'm looking at this series. And it really just depends on how the bullpen does, because we talked about how the bullpen's been struggling. They've been overworked, but thankfully they get the All-Star break. Every one of their relief pitchers got the opportunity to get a couple days off, rest their arms, rest their bodies, go do stuff that they want to do. Today, these last couple games, we saw Dave Roberts be pretty aggressive with the bullpen, really trying to get these wins and, carry that momentum, because I feel like the Dodgers, mentally, they needed this. They needed to come out strong, get a couple wins, a series sweep to kick off the second half. That's big. If the bullpen can hold it down, because they're going to be used. River Ryan hasn't gone more than 5 innings his entire professional career. That includes minor leagues and like college. Like he just has not gone past 5 innings. That's just been his thing. Tyler Glasnow, what is he looking like? Is he going to be a 6-inning guy, 7-inning guy? His first start off after having like almost 2 weeks off. Not sure. Clayton Kershaw, 4 innings was his most innings that he pitched in a rehab start. Does he go just 4 and then call it a day? And then you're kind of looking at him as like a super opener where he faced the lineup like 1.5 times and then you hand it off to your bullpen. That's a big ask for your bullpen, especially playing 4 straight games. So I would like to say a sweep, just because it doesn't seem like the Giants have that much pitching either. But the Dodgers are kind of in the same boat right now. So I'll stick with 3 out of 4. I think they take care of business. They take all this momentum, winning 6 of their 7 games at home to kick off the start of the second half, and then they'll go on the road with that. But I could honestly see a sweep if the bullpen's lights out. If Tyler Glasnow can give them 6 or 7 strong innings, which I think they're going to want him to push to, I could see a sweep here. But like I said, I'll stick with 3 out of 4 though. So. But any other closing thoughts? Any other crazy ideas? Or what else did we see from the series? Or are we good to end this episode, guys?
I think we're good. I think I got pretty much everything off my plate, really.
All right. Carlos, anything? You're muted, Carlos. You made a Juan mistake.
Big props for Teoscar Hernandez for winning the home run derby. We didn't touch on that. I didn't have him. I didn't pick him on my pool to win the whole thing. I picked Gunnar to win the whole thing, and it wasn't even close. So no, big ups to him. He wanted to do it, and I think it's kind of exciting. He had his whole family there, so it was cool. I'm glad he got it. First Dodger to win it, right? Ever. Yeah. So that was really cool. Hopefully he'll come back next year and do it, and he'll do it. And I hope Ohtani does it, and that'd be cool to have 2 Dodgers doing it. And that was great.
Yeah, I was like the only one that picked Teoscar to win. And people maybe thought I was being a homer. I was jokingly say it. No, I actually legit thought the guy had a chance to win because his swing just looks like a home run derby swing. We saw him get into a groove with Dino throwing him exactly where the ball wanted to go, and he was hitting balls like 430 feet. So that's just the type of power that guy has. So hats off to him. We told Rob Bradford, he's having the ultimate prove it year. All-star selection, all-star starter, home run derby champ. And he took a 1-year prove it deal for $23 and I think like $500,000. I know the Dodgers are deferring almost half, like $13 million of it, but he's about to get paid like a 4 or 5 year contract this offseason. So definitely hats off to Teoscar Hernandez, who's been a big part of the Dodgers this season. But other than that, we'll get ready to close it out for this episode of the Believe Those podcast, this weekly rewind edition. Keep in touch. Subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on, and then be sure to follow, all of us on social media. Adrian's been doing a really good job doing recap videos. He's got daily, post-game articles that we post on the website, DodgerBeat.com. Trade deadline's coming up as well. We're looking to go live and put multiple episodes out this week and then leading up to the trade deadline. So it's going to be an interesting couple days, especially, like I said, with that trade deadline coming up. That's where we make the bread and butter, man. That's where we get all the ideas turning, and it gets really exciting. And last year we did go live on the final, I believe, hour of the trade deadline. So I'm pretty sure we'll do that again this year. And so be sure to subscribe, all right?
This episode has been brought to you by Bet Online. The game starts here.